So with no real agenda for today, the last video, the last podcast that we made, that was, I think it was an hour, and that was how to give kick-ass presentations. Is that true? That was the last one we did.
No. We did another one, handling corona, handling stress, and those things.
Oh, okay. That was 1 hour. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we don't have an hour because I have a meeting at I think in about 30 minutes or so. So we need to be quick.
Okay,
but
so let's give ourselves
I
20
have a couple
minutes.
of things.
Go.
So Øivind said he wanted to talk about mental training for eSports, and I have a couple of other things, and that is I would like to cover two passions I have now, and that is that people should stop management, should stop leadership, and should stop sales.
Okay, so that's 2 1-hour podcasts, and we have the mental training for eSports. So stone, paper, scissors, go.
Now we can do that one first, because I had a little bit of an experience with esports since Nicholas, my oldest son, is soon to turn 21. He is a great Rocket League player, and I've been following him. He has actually moved up one league now, together with his teammates. And I've been trying to approach Rocket League players around the world to see if I can hook somebody up for free mental training, because I would like to break into esports and see how the mental training that we do with physical sports athletes, how that will impact their gaming in esports.
Okay, so let's just go back a little bit. So Øivind, 10 seconds. What is mental training? Go.
It's the ability to focus on one thing at a time.
Okay, Geir, 10 seconds. What is mental training?
I would broaden it. It's more about the whole mental the mental faculty, how the skills, how you actually approach a game and how you play the game, not physically, but the mental part of it.
Okay, I tell people you go to the gym, the training center, you train physical muscles, mental training, you're training one muscle, that's the brain. That's the way I sort of say it. So Øivind, e-gaming, you're an e-gamer.
Yeah, I like to think so.
We're e-gamers, we're e-gamers. All right.
Yes, for sure. So I've been playing a bit of Formula 1 2019 on my PlayStation, and I've been joining some leagues with Brendan. And I've been looking at people, and some people are really good at fast lap times. So this one shot, like once in your lifetime, you did a really fast lap. But I don't see it translating into the big results when they go to league races. So I was wondering if we could cover some really simple, good tools to train that muscle of focusing, or train that muscle for improving under pressure.
Yeah, I will explain to Guy sort of what we do. So we're racing in the Formula 1. It's basically that we're sitting in a chair. We've got these steering wheels, and we need like 100% focus. We're not that good that we can do 99% focus yet. So if Margrethe comes in and says something to me, and I'm like this, and I look away and back again, I crash the car. That's sort of what we're playing. And one race lasts about 50 minutes to 1 hour, roughly. Yeah, give or take.
And also, like in the race, you have these parts of the race where your eyes just goes like this, and you just broaden everything, and then like, okay, I'm totally dialed in. And as soon as you're dialed in, you crash, because then you realize that you're dialed in and you're not dialed in anymore. Yeah. So that's like the things I've been feeling when I've been playing. So I've been trying to work on that.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in one previous podcast, and I'm always like, whenever I'm driving and I think, oh, this is going well, I always get back to, okay, next corner, next corner, next corner, next corner. Guide.
Yes, it's similar to what we do with physical sports athletes. In the case that when people start thinking that they're doing well, they're not doing well anymore. When we sit people down training with just a chair, sitting there, closing their eyes, and not thinking. The moment you think, oh, this is good, then you're thinking. So it's a matter of not thinking that thought, not thinking, oh, this is going well, oh, now I'm focusing, or something like that. Not doing any of that, just focusing on the task at hand, which is not to think about the task, but actually doing the task. So this can be trained through our mental training, the core one-page book. This is where we cover that. But there are other aspects with esports as well, which I would like to cover. But first of all, the moment you start thinking about thinking, then you lose. Especially in Formula One, especially in games that are really high intensive focus games, then that goes out the window. So any thought, good or bad, will blow the focus.
I really like that one. Don't think about the task, do the task. Oh, it's another nugget from Geir.
Yes, so I mean, any sort of meta reflection about the game just kills the game, really. So, and then this goes for life as well. When you start to meditate and start to think about how life is, you sort of distance yourself from life. This is what Buddhism does. You know, you detach yourself from life when you start to accept everything. So this is the flip side of the coin, being so serene and so Yoda that you are no longer part of the game. So that is a problem, actually.
And me and Øivind, we're racing a lot of this Formula One, like it's really intense. And because of the Corona situation, a lot of the Formula One drivers around the world, they're going to sim racing instead. So everybody's sitting at home doing this racing, and suddenly the whole world is opening, and anybody can race against Formula One drivers. It's not that difficult. Suddenly they're in your race. And some of these people, some of these Formula One drivers in real life have been discussing what it's like to be doing eSports. Øivind.
Yes, and it's been really cool because I was expecting them to say, yeah, it's not that much. It's like, it doesn't take that much from me. But then it's like Charles Leclerc, after his game, he was like, this is more intense because you don't have anything outside that kind of draws you back in. Like, for instance, I could crash in 300 kilometers per hour. You don't have anything of that. So he's like, I was just dripping with sweat and I had to focus so hard when I played the game. More difficult. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I heard Lando Norris saying the same. It's a young Formula One driver, and he was like, "This is just so intense." So he uses this as his mental training. So he's racing like several hours a day, with the idea that when the proper Formula One gets back, that he's been doing this mental training for hours every day. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to cover a couple of other things. Lately I've been trying to approach a few of the top Rocket League players around the world. I have been chatting a bit with Flake, and he was like, "Yeah, what does this give me?" And I asked him, "Okay, so you're perfect in the mental arena then?" Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but you know. And some of these guys are really cocky. But I'm trying to find some eager person up and coming that really has empathy and wants to improve, not only skill wise in the game, but actually mentally. That would be interesting. But I see when you guys, you don't play much as a team, right? But if you have team sports, that's a whole different area, because then you have people who go toxic in the game and start swearing at the other teammates and berating the other teammates, which is another part of mental training. Not doing that, which is basically doing what helps you and the team and not doing that which doesn't help. So there are a few guys that has been kicked out of teams. Even though they are the best in the world, they get kicked out because they're toxic towards the other team players. So that's another aspect that you guys don't hit in Formula One.
That's like in real life, this no dickhead policy in the All Blacks rugby team. That you can be good at rugby, but if the team don't like you and you're the dickhead, sorry, but you only had one appearance on the national team, you're out.
Yeah, and I really like the no dickhead policy of the All Blacks in New Zealand. That's really cool. Yeah.
And I think for if you're doing races, like it's a one-man sports, and usually in a party where you can listen to everyone else talking, and suddenly you will hear somebody just flip out completely because something, oh, this asshole just ran into me, screw him. And it's like, I would just like to say, stop it. It doesn't help you.
I'm going to say that to you next time. I'm going to say that.
Yeah. I usually go, damn it, I got a penalty again.
Now that brings another area. There are three areas I would like to cover in this. One was the actual focus and not thinking about stuff that you're doing, just do it. And the other thing was not being toxic towards your teammates. And the third thing is letting go of the loss. Because most people, they are stuck a little bit, at least a tenth of a second or something, into, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. And when you start thinking about, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or have some grievances or some emotion about it, that will drag into the next corner and you crash. So anytime you lose something, or you do a bad choice, or you do something that is not beneficial to your game, you should let go of that loss immediately. So training on not dragging the negative parts in your game into the next part is extremely important. I saw Magnus Carlsen play the other day, yesterday, and he completely fucked up against, who was it again? Against Nepomniachtchi, Jan Nepomniachtchi. And the first game, he lost in the 7th move. And he was sitting there thinking for 6 minutes and just being completely blank. And then going into a negative spiral thinking, fuck, I fucked up, I fucked up, I fucked up. Now, any loss, any bad choice should be gotten rid of in a split second. So training on that part in your game will improve your mental faculty in playing any game, team sports or not.
Okay, so there's this Seinfeld episode where they call out at the end of it, do we have a marine biologist? Do we have a marine biologist? And everybody turns to George because he's been telling people he's the marine biologist. So if you were at this chess tournament and Magnus Carlsen's coach, his father, says, do we have a mental trainer? Do we have a mental trainer? And he's like, guy, go, go, go. You got like 2 minutes because he's going back into the game in 2 minutes. Magnus Carlsen's in front of you. Go.
Oh, this is an actual role play. I would sit down and say, okay, so shut the fuck up, sit on a chair, close your eyes, do nothing. And I mean fucking nothing. And if I see some movement in his eyes, I go, okay, open your eyes. You're not doing nothing. Start doing nothing. And sit there and close his eyes until he can actually be completely relaxed. Because when I know he is completely relaxed, all the thoughts about the loss, about whatever happened the last game, will then vanish. It's a matter of actually practicing. As you say, it's also a matter of not just doing it once, I got it. Mental training is actually training. It's like physical training. You go to the gym and you do it over and over and over again. It's not like somebody goes into a gym and say, yeah, I did that lifting once. Yeah, I can do it. It's fine. I can lift that shit. But it's a matter of doing it over and over again. So I will sit him down every time you lose. Sit down, close your eyes, get rid of the negative stuff. Do nothing.
I think at the moment, because of this corona and everybody's got like so much more time, this perception of time is crazy. So the handball teams that I'm working with at the moment, there's about 10 of them, 12 of them that are doing this every day. So they're up to like 10 minutes of doing nothing a day. And some of them have started moving on to after the 10 minutes, then they start to visualizing, but they're getting so much better at just doing nothing and emptying their brains.
Yeah. That is so cool that they're able to empty their brains first. In American football, we call this short-term memory. A quarterback should always have an exceptionally bad short-term memory. So it's like whenever you do a mistake, you should just forget about it. And that kind of, it becomes challenging after a while. If you're getting pissed off or losing focus in lap training, then you fix that. Okay, I can just fix it. Okay, I now can handle this. Then you come up to a league race, and then it's like, oh, now I have to fix that. And then the stakes will keep getting higher the better you become at the games. So it's like Brendan said, this has to be a muscle you can train.
It does. Okay. Now I'm realizing that my aspiration of also including in this this video cast the fact that one should stop selling and one should stop leadership, we'll refer that to the next video cast, I guess, because now it's getting to be how many minutes?
All of them.
It's no, we've only been going for 8 minutes, I think.
So what time is it now?
It's what time do you want it to be?
Well, I need it to be less than 6 o'clock because 6
it's less than 6 o'clock. We've still got a couple of minutes. It's less than 6. I'll tell you when it's 6 o'clock. But here's the thing. Here's like a situation that just jumped into my head. So we have to let it go. We have to empty our brains. We have to let it go, get past it straight away. And I go back when if you've fucked up, you know, like we're 3 guys here, and if you fucked up in front of your missus, your girlfriend, your wife, and you have this expectation around just that that's Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, that was really. I shouldn't have done that. Yes, I'm going to be sad with you for the next couple of days, for the next few hours, whatever it is. So, is the potential that we're getting that we train with esports to just like a couple of seconds, and we're forgetting things totally? How's that going to play out in real life?
That's interesting actually, because that is a different game all of a sudden. I mean, because any game that you play, any esports, any athlete game or whatever, is very narrow in comparison to life. It's very focused. Even, soccer has a lot of elements in it, but it doesn't include much of empathy, really. But in real life, empathy becomes a matter. It becomes important. So to be able to do it does not mean that you should do it always. Just like
that's a tough one, because you're training like these esport gamers are training like 12 hours a day of dropping it, letting it go, dropping it, letting it go, don't bring it on, just get rid of it, empty the brain. And then after 12 hours they're going and they're being with other people.
Yeah, and that is the problem with nerds, really, because they're training to be, so focused, so passionate, so whatever they're doing, especially in games, that when they get out into social life, they become sociopathic assholes. And the problem we have as mental trainers, and I've discovered this with physical athletes as well. I train people to take gold in the Olympics, and at the same time, I make them into egotistical assholes. And that is not good. So I'm very conscious about that. I talk about it a lot with the people I train, so that has a less chance of happening, at least. But I'm curious to see if I take some of the really excellent, top-notch Rocket League players and train them. I wonder if they become, psychopaths.
I know there's a couple of players that I see. I always admire like professional football players in interviews after matches, and they're like when they interviewed, if they win or they lose, they always have the same answer. Like the top players, like all of the Liverpool players, the top football players, they always give the same sentence. Yeah, we just take one game at a time, and now we have to get ready for the next match. So that's it. That's done. And that's sort of like an attitude that's they're really good at.
Yeah, and there is one thing in between there that I also do. It's like whenever you finish a game, you should always take one lesson learned out of the game. But when you've done that, then you let it go. But in the game, you don't have time to actually process and do a feedback loop on lessons learned. You can't do that in the game. Then you have to drop it without any lessons learned. But when you get after the match and sort of recollect yourself, then you can go back and think, is there anything I can take out from that game as lessons learned? Okay, I'll take this one. And then I work with that. And then I train. And then into the next game, drop everything during the game, lesson learned after the game.
Because the paradox here is that the 11 players on the pitch, they're the ones that should take the loss the heaviest, right? They're the ones that should be really, like, after the match, they're really down, they're really low. But they interviewed on TV, and it's like, well, now we have to put that behind us. Now, no matter what, now we're going forward. But there's like 60,000 fans leaving the stadium that weren't on the pitch. They can't let it go.
Yeah, that's really funny. But they are not in the control of the game. They're not in control of their own emotions even. But that's part of being a fan. It's kind of okay too. So it's okay.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so we have 4 minutes to 6. Øivind, go.
I'm going. No, 4 minutes to 6. Okay, we're in a hurry. So what I would like to challenge whoever is trying to be more focused in the game is like noticing when you're losing control, when you're losing your focus. I tried this the other day when I played a game where I took away all the feedback, like all timings, all kind of things that could get me away from just focusing on the next corner. I tried to do that, and suddenly I raced quicker, like instantaneously. It was like instant. I was faster because I was just focusing. So that's my first tip.
And this is something that we learned from Hans Trygve Brennan.
Yes.
The former coach of the best skating guy in the 90s, Jon Olav Koss, and he actually stopped doing lap times and giving any type of feedback on timing to Jon Olav Koss. He just stopped that as a trainer, because that should not be the focus of the race. Even when Jon Olav Koss won in 1994 the 10,000 meters and set a new world record, he wasn't timed during his race. He was only coached on technique. It's like, okay, a little quicker into the next corner or the next bend, a little faster on this side, a little more pressure on the left foot, etc., etc. He was only coached on technique and nothing about the result or the timing or any such thing that could be a distraction. So that follows quite well with what Øivind just said.
This can also be one of our future podcasts because we've been discussing this about having goals, and you can have dreams, you can have goals long term, but you have to sort of like get the real goal is like, okay, can I do what I'm supposed to do right now? Just park the dream, park the vision, and get back to, okay, am I doing what I'm supposed to do right now, or am I somewhere else? Am I still in the long term thing?
Yeah. And also think that we should throw Simon in here and just go 2 lengths of the pool. Will whatever I'm doing now make me faster? Will it make me better, like in Rocket League, make me better in skating? And I really like the feedback from the coach there, because feedback was actually adjusting the present, not letting the athlete know about the past, because that has no value now.
Exactly. It's just about doing it better right now. That's what you can control. You control the process. You don't control the outcome.
Yeah, it's like this. It's the future is just your imagination. It's just like it doesn't even exist. It's just like you're just imagining. But okay,
exactly.
So we've got 1 minute left, and that's like about 20 seconds for each of us. Go. Add what you want. Guy has to go at 6 o'clock. So
actually, I don't have anything to add, so it's fine.
Okay. So summarize. Mental training. Go. 20 seconds.
Mental training, focus, learn to do nothing, learn to do absolutely nothing. And when you hit some kind of a negative thing, you lose some part of the game or whatever, let it go immediately. Do only that which helps. Do not do that which doesn't help. Being toxic towards your friends in the game does not help.
Mr. Øivind.
Thank you. With what Geir said, try to take away all the things that can distract you, add them on and see which one influences you. And that should be your focus area, not to focus on unless it makes you faster or better or more awesome. And also, don't lose it. Anything. Like a guy called Geir said once, did it help? No, then we won't do it. And anything that doesn't help, we won't do. And that includes talking shit to people that just put you into the barrier or whatever. Just, if it doesn't help, don't do it.
Yep.
Okay, our next podcast is going to be on leadership, or is that what it was? Leadership or sales or?
Yeah, stuff we shouldn't do anymore. Leadership and sales.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so this is about 20 minutes. It's 6 o'clock, and thanks for the chat, guys.
Okay, ciao.